Welcome to Ashmont University. I'm your professor today, Adam Ashba, and today we're going to be diving into the Columbus Board of Realtors MLS. This is going to be a multiple video tutorial. Make sure you follow along in sequential order. It'll make a lot more sense to you. So we're going to go ahead and dive into it. Stay with us right after this.
I'm going to go to Flex MLS and I'm going to log in. Notice the login here is my name. That's not what it'll be for you. It'll be your license number preceded by CR lowercase dot, and then your license number. And your password is whatever you set your password to, and you will be required to change that. Notice the remember username, so at least you don't have to type in the username part. If it remembers more than that and it's highlighted in yellow, that usually means you're using some kind of password storage within the browser. That doesn't happen from the MLS level. And notice there's a password not working link down here. If you click that link at the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to reset your password anytime, day or night. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in. So I'm going to put CR dot in my license number, not my name. It's only my name because I'm the trainer. Password and login. Okay, so I'm logged into the MLS right now, and I'm actually just going to expand this a little bit so you can see it better. And now I'm going to go through and show you around this system. Now, first of all, at the top of the screen, notice all of the menus. When I hover over the menus, you notice they drop down. I don't have to click on them. I'm not left clicking with my mouse. I'm just hovering over the menus and showing you those. So if I go to add change, you notice you can add a listing, you can change a listing, you can see your incomplete listings, which literally means the listings you started to enter saved as incomplete and never saved them as an active MLS listing. They're just on your account. They're not an active listing yet. That's what my incomplete means. My unmapped means literally go to this and see if any of your properties were not mapped. That's your listings that are not showing up on the map because the system could not identify their location. That's pretty important. Just go to that once in a while, make sure you're there and none unmapped. The other way you can check that is just to go to your listings and see the little icon. If the icon's over the house or in front of the driveway, then you're good. But that's one thing you might want to check is my unmapped. Copy literally allows admins to copy listings. Just keep in mind when you copy a listing from the MLS, you're copying in about 15 to 20 fields, of which the data is questionable because it's out of date. It could have been entered correctly or incorrectly by the previous agent. So you're going to have to check it even if you do copy those listings. All right, now here's what I'm going to do. And that is go to the search menu. We're going to cover quick search today. This is where you're going to go to search by fields. We're going to cover map search, which is where you go to search by map. Now it's pretty close to the same thing. Quick search takes you directly to search. Map search takes you directly to quick search, but in the map section. And I'll show you that in just a moment. We'll also talk about MLS number search. We'll talk about address, multiple address searching, that is. We'll talk about the office member roster, looking up other agents in the roster. You may want to see information about them, find their telephone number. You can do that anytime right there under search and office member. And listing collections we'll talk about in level 2. Saved searches we'll talk about in level 2. That's the main entrance to data co-op and the main entrance to RPR. And when you click on RPR or data co-op, it will either, data co-op won't make you log in. RPR will make you log in possibly the first time, but then if you keep logging in, it will keep you logged into RPR because it keeps you logged in it for two weeks at a time, I believe, once you log in the first time. And there's also help at the bottom of the screen in RPR if you don't know your login information, so you can contact them. Under daily functions, you've got hot sheets that we will talk about more in level 2. But notice we also have input forms. If you're filling out a listing and you want to see the input form, or you want to have the input form to fill out all the information with your client, have them sign the lines at the bottom, if you go to daily functions and input forms, you will be able to go to whatever property type you want to see, click on it, and click print. And that will actually generate a PDF of the input form that you're going to use to enter that listing. And now you can go through, fill out all the information for that property. And at the bottom there are your signature lines. So now it's a very generic one, but it is up to date, and you can get that anytime by going to Daily Functions, Input Forms, and getting that PDF to fill out your listing and get the signature from your client before you start entering the listing on the MLS. Under Contacts, you have Contact Management. I'm just going to go back to that main screen. Well, how do I do that? Well, you don't hit the back button, first of all. I click the red MLS button up here at the top left-hand corner. And when I click on that red MLS button, it takes me back to the main screen. Now, if I go to contacts, I got contact management, opt-in status. We'll talk about all this in lesson 2. And subscriptions, my sent emails, reverse prospecting. We'll go over all of those in the second part of Flex MLS training, Flex MLS 2. Taxes, this is the main entrance to Realist Tax. When I click on that, opens in a separate window and takes me to Realist. Notice that gray bar right there is Flash loading. You will need Flash installed on your device to use the full version of Realist. If you do not have Flash, it'll give you an error and you'll have to update Flash on a computer. If you're using a mobile device, then it will take you to the watered down mobile version of Realist, so you won't have the full functionality. Notice I got a tab up here. I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can see that tab button. See that tab right there? I need to close that because this is the Flex MLS tab over the top left-hand corner, and Realist is open in a separate tab. You're going to see Flex do that a lot. So if I want to close that Realist tab at the top of the screen, I just close it, and then I'm back to my Flex MLS tab. Now, I don't want to close the Flex MLS tab, or then I'm completely logged out of the browser and out of Flex. So I'm going to continue on here. That was the contacts. That was taxes. We opened Realist. Statistics, lots of statistical reports available here that you can customize and run all kinds of statistical reports about the MLS data. Preferences we're going to go over in just a moment as well. You've got My Profile that we'll take a look at. We're going to look at My Quick Searches in the Level 2 class. We'll have a discussion about some of these other preferences like general preferences in just a moment, and I'll briefly cover the portal preferences as well. And that's your menus at the top of the screen. Now you've got a lot of layers here, right? You got all these menus that we just looked at. You've also got the quick launch bar at the top of the screen. And when you go up here to quick launch, this is that little global search I was telling you about. Now this is really nice though. Watch this. I'm going to go to quick launch. And notice when I click in there right beside that little magnifying glass, I'm just going to type in a name. I'm going to type in Smith. And notice it found members named Smith and offices named Smith. Well, the problem with this is going to be that it is limited to 5 results. So you're not going to find everybody. Now notice when you hover over one, there's this new tab button right out to the right-hand side. Notice you have to hover over it to see new tab on the right-hand side. If I hover over this office, Smith Realty, new tab. If I want to open in a new tab, I can do that just by typing in what I want and then on the drop-down list, clicking new tab. We're going to do that in just a second. But I want to try something else first. I want to type in an MLS number. And notice as I type the MLS number, in the drop-down list here, it finds this property at 11340 Northwest Heimberger Road in Baltimore, Ohio. Again, if I click on that property right here, it's going to take over the screen and take me to that property. So now I'm looking at that property, but I can go back up to the top to the quick launch and type in an address as well. So if I type in 2315 Edmonton Road, notice it finds 2 versions of Edmonton Road. One in 2014, I can tell by the MLS number that's 2014, and I can tell by this MLS number it's 1999. Again, if I click on the address or if I click on the MLS number, there in the drop-down, it takes me to that property. And notice it took me to a closed version of that property. It doesn't care what the status is because I typed in the MLS number or the address. It's going to pull up whatever you type in. But what if I go up here into the quick launch and I put in a person's name? I'm going to type in Sutton. And it finds Sutton Place, Sutton Place, Sutton Place, and then it finds a member named Vanessa Sutton. Well, I click on that member's name. And now once that member loads in the roster, I can see her contact information, or I can go up to the top of the roster and even type in additional information up here by member code, email, primary phone. There's another way to get to that, and that is to go to search and go to office member lookup. And remember, we typed in Smith up in the quick launch bar at the top of the screen. If I type in Smith here and click find, it's going to find everybody named Smith, not just the first 4 or 5. Okay, so that is the limitation of the quick launch at the top of the screen, is that we'll only find 4 or 5 items of each type, listings and members and searches, etc. But here's what I want to do. I want to go to a property, and we'll just pick one. So it takes me to that property. Now I don't want to lose this property, but the phone rings and I need to open up a new search. Somebody's asking me, hey, you were going to do a residential search for me and I haven't gotten any listings yet. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. So while you're looking at this property, you don't want to lose this property because you want to send it out to your client, but you can go up to Quick Launch at the top of the screen and you can type in RES. Now, why would you type in RES? Well, it'll find listings with RES. It'll find quick searches with RES. It'll find members with RES, but that's what I want right there. I want residential. Notice it says one residential. That is the main residential search. Now, if I click on residential, just like earlier when I clicked on the address, it's going to take me to that in the screen that I'm in right now, in this browser that I'm in right now, in this particular tab that I'm in. But watch this. Remember that new tab button right over here. Now remember, I don't want to lose this property that I'm working with. So if I click in here, type in RES, and I hover over, I don't click on residential, but notice I click on new tab to the right of residential. This little pop-out icon with new tab beside it. When I click new tab, notice a new tab at the top of the screen has opened in the browser, and I didn't lose my listing. I can go back to Sutton Place just by clicking on the tab at the top left. I can go to the residential search. Well, what if I need to open an additional search for, say, a multifamily property? So I type in MUL, it finds multiple address. That's not what I want. I want multifamily property right here, number 3. And I click on new tab. So what's that going to do? It's not going to erase the screen I'm on. It's going to open a new tab at the top of the browser and take me to multifamily. So now I'm searching in a multifamily search and a residential search, and I've got that original property over on Sutton Place in the multi-tab browsing. This is just browser functionality, but Flex is taking advantage of that using the quick launch function and the new tab pop-out button right there. Now, if you're done with these extra tabs, I'm just going to hover over the tab, close that tab, hover over this tab, close that tab, and I'm back to my original window. Now, I want to show you how to get help online because you may need help after hours. Tech support's only available 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and there is help available online. First of all, I'm going to go to the home page. And on the home page, there is training videos on the left-hand side here in the MLS links box. Now, if you've customized your home page, you may not have the MLS links box here, gadget as it is. But in that gadget, there's training videos. Well, I want to show you those training videos. When I click on training videos, that takes me to this site and shows the training videos. These are both from the vendor and from Central Ohio Columbus Realtors MLS. You'll hear my voice on some of these recordings. Now, the ones up here at the top have been curated by the MLS technical support department as ones that are frequently requested, often requested. The overview of Flex, for example, getting started with Flex MLS. The subscription basics and the subscriptions 101 and contact management 101. Notice those are longer videos. But notice down here below, you have ones that say specific to Columbus. And there's one add edit 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4, as well as photo upload and auto pop geocode. And you'll see actually this video that you're listening to right now will be available on this page as well. But the one specific to Columbus will be my voice walking you through basically what we would do in a class, which is what the add edit listing entry video is. It'll be the end of the Flex MLS 1 class. And you'll see those here. Those mean that it was recorded on your system. If not, it may be, like, for example, Subscriptions 101 may be recorded in Fargo, or it may be recorded in Arizona, or maybe recorded in Florida at one of the other installations of Flex MLS. The ones specific to Columbus are literally recorded on the Columbus MLS. And that's what you're listening to right now. I'm going to close that browser tab. Remember, browser tab, close that. That takes you back to the main browser window. Okay, so that's how you can get help online one way under training videos, but there's another way. Watch this. If I go to search, quick search. So I hover over search up here and I go to quick search. Notice the help button at the top right-hand corner over where I'm moving my mouse. When I click on that help button, it gives me help based upon the contextual page that I'm on right now. So if I instead go to Contacts, Contact Management, under Contacts, and I click on Contact Management, now when I click the help button at the top right-hand corner, it gives me help for contact management. But it doesn't have to work like that. If you just are on a page and you click help, notice you've also got the user guides button right here at the top of the help window. So again, when you click help, regardless of what page you're on, if you click user guides, it's going to show you manuals and video tutorials. Now, these are all from Flex MLS. If you want those specific to Columbus videos like the one you're listening to right now, you'll have to go back to the main page training videos, the red MLS up there at the top left-hand corner, to go back to the dashboard gadget and click on training videos. But once you go to help at the top right-hand corner and user guides, you've got manuals available. Searching, search results. These are PDF manuals. And if you want to view one, you can just click on searching, for example, and it opens a separate tab, takes you to the PDF for searching. I'm going to close that. Now, if I click on user guides again and click on video tutorials, these are all of the little snippet videos that the provider Flex MLS has provided for you. And you can go through and click any of these anytime and watch a video on using map overlays or adding a listing or hot sheets or searching. Those are little less than 10-minute videos. But if you, again, go to the top, click user guides, video tutorials, and see this webinar library. These are those longer videos that you saw that were curated by the MLS Tech Support Department as frequently offered, frequently asked for. And if you scroll down through here, you'll notice these are a lot longer. 55-minute videos on I have a seller, now what? Or report writer. Or so you've got lots of options here. There's that getting started video, 72 minutes long. So lots of videos available here as well under user guides, manuals for PDFs, and video tutorials. These are all going to be from Flex MLS, that is FBS, the creators of this Flex MLS system that we use. They won't be specific to Columbus. If you want to see specific to Columbus videos, again, you go to the red MLS at the top left-hand corner, or when you log in, just simply go to the MLS links box right down here, and then click on training videos. So lots of help available online. Now what I want to do is go through and show you customizing this dashboard. So this is the dashboard. This is the gadgets that you're going to see when you first log in. You can't customize the MLS dashboard. That was created by the MLS for all members of the MLS, and so these can't be moved. Well, but watch this. If I click the down arrow, I created one called Use Me, and there's one called Home and Classic. I'm going to go to Use Me, and notice the layout changed. Well, that's because I customized this one. And once you use one or create one, then you can click and hold on the gray bar at the top, and notice it breaks loose, and you can move these gadgets wherever you want them. So if I want to move the news gadget over to the side, I can drop it right there. If I want to move it back, I click hold and I can drag it back to the other side. Now, if you do create your own gadget interface, I highly recommend keeping this one, the message board, because that is where we're going to give you news, like of upcoming outages. There may be a downtime on Saturday night for updating information on Realist, and so Realist isn't going to be available after 10 p.m. This is where we're going to notify you of that. Association headquarters closings for holidays, notices of election results, that's the kind of thing you're going to see here. The blue ones are membership at large. The red ones are specific to MLS software or policy. So that's how you can tell what the different headlines are. But keep an eye on those headlines when you log in, because they do frequently change. Okay, I'm going to go back to, well, wait a minute. I want to make this my default dashboard. So every time I log into the MLS, I come to this dashboard because I like the smaller version of the news headlines. And maybe I want to move the My Listings up and notice the listing collections. And oh, there's that MLS links box. I want to move that up a little bit. So I'm going to drag that upwards. So I drag it up here. Okay, now I've got those where I want them to be. I'm going to go over here to Customize. And notice under Customize, because I'm using a custom gadget interface, a custom dashboard called Use Me, now when I go to Customize, I will be able to add gadgets to this dashboard. I will be able to change the layout of this dashboard. Notice I got the two columns here at the top and then the wider ones down at the bottom, and I can change any of these right here. I'm going to click Cancel. I can go to Customize. I can rename this dashboard. So if I don't like the silly name Use Me, I can rename it. I can make this my default dashboard. And when I do that, now if I make that my default dashboard right there, I can go back anytime and come back to the system. And rather than seeing the MLS dashboard, it will literally default to Use Me dashboard or whatever dashboard you've created. And also under Customize, notice you can add a new dashboard and reorder the order of the dashboards that you select. Okay, so that's how you change the dashboard up there at the top. Now I want to talk about setting preferences. There are a couple places you're going to do that. If you go to Preferences, notice you've got My Profile. You've got General Preferences and Portal Preferences. Those are the three we're going to talk about. My profile is very important. Just like your profile on any social media website, you want to go to Preferences, My Profile, and then you're going to be able to click on Quick Profile Maintenance. You definitely need to do this. Check this out. Make sure everything's the way you want it to be. When I click on Quick Profile Maintenance, notice your marketing name. Your name up here is from the division. You cannot modify that, but you could put your team name and whatever you want to put in there for your title after that. You can put in your email address. You can put in your phone number here if you want that to display your website. Notice I've chosen not to display my license number. That's up to you. Do you want it to display on your profile? That's really all the question is here. What do you want to display and what do you want it to say? Make sure that phone number is up to date, correct, and the one you want to appear on your profile. And that email address, make sure that is up to date, correct, and the one you want to appear on your profile. Address, languages spoken. Now, here's something you'll see in a couple of places in Flex MLS, and that is when you click, notice I've got two languages there, languages spoken. If I click in the space beside those names, then the list appears. So if I want to add additional languages, I click beside, and I click the languages that I want to add. If I want to remove languages, I just click the X in the little box of the language that I want to remove. So you're going to see that in a couple of places where you click in the box, and that's how you get to it. Now in the bio section here, this is where you're going to go and type, well, like I have. I've been a real estate professional for 14 years. I've lived in Central Ohio for 20 years, proud of my Ohio roots and love the Buckeyes. And I'm glad we'll be, whatever. You put in your bio because this will be available and visible on the client portal. Which right here is one way you're going to be able to do that. You're going to set your portal name down here at the bottom of the screen. Notice it says portal.flexmls.com. That's actually my.flexmls.com is the main one, but it's this part is the part you set. Notice the / right there. This you can't modify, but this right here, this is the name you choose. Now, if you've already got people using the portal, now is not the time to change it, because if you change the name of your portal, they will not be able to get to your portal. So that's how you change it, though. And then I'll show you the other on the portal preferences page. And you can add certifications right here. You simply select them on the left-hand side, then click the add button. And then notice you can also click over here, move up, move down, or you can even remove a certification you no longer have or erroneously added. And as you scroll down, display preferences, it's going to display your system name and your marketing name on the reports. Now, at the bottom of the screen, don't forget to click save. If you've made a bunch of changes up here, you really need to hit the save button, especially if you've changed your email address, added languages, added bio, included your license number, or removed it. Make sure you click save at the bottom of the screen to save your profile. Now, if you need to go through any of those individual sections, you can do that right here as well. The names, the email addresses. For example, if you go to email addresses, and you can add multiple email addresses here, just make sure the one you want set is the right one. Notice it says this is your primary email. That is your primary email for the MLS. That's the one that's going to default when your clients reply to it, when you send email from the MLS, etc. If you need to add additional emails, you can. Then you can select those on the email screen, but make sure your correct email is set as the primary email address on this screen. Again, that was under Preferences, My Profile, and under Email Addresses. Let me show you another way to get to this screen. Preferences, My Profile, right? Well, I'm going to go back out of here to the dashboard by clicking the red MLS at the top left-hand corner. And I'm going to go to my name, and I'm going to click on My Profile right here. When I click on My Profile, notice this is the exact same screen, and it is. It's the exact same screen. So if I go to my email addresses, or if I go to my names, or change my password, well, wait a minute. So I can just go here. I can go to My Profile by clicking on my name, going to My Profile, and I can click Change My Password anytime. You put in your current password, put in your new password, and then retype your new password, and then you click Next. You'll be required to do that every 90 days. That's what I was talking about, incrementing My Dog 1, My Dog 2, My Dog 3, My Dog 4, etc. But you can also change it anytime. If you know, maybe your client looked at your desktop and they kind of looked too long at your password that you had written on your desktop, and you just need to change it to make sure they can't get in. There's how you do it. You just go to your name, My Profile, change password right here. Now, here's an important one we haven't covered, and that is personal photo and logo. Again, we go to the name, the top right-hand corner, My Profile, or we go to Preferences, and then we go to My Profile. It takes you to the exact same page. Click Personal and Photo and Logo Maintenance. Preferences, and we go to Profile, and we go to Personal Photo and Logo Maintenance. When you do that, this is another thing that's kind of weird about Flex, is that when you put your logos and photos, upload them. You will have to upload them. The way you order them is a little strange. Let me show you how it works. The top logo and the top photo are your primary photo and logo. So notice I got a top logo. It says so right over here. This logo, that's my top photo. That's my primary logo. The right below it is the top photo. So this is my primary photo. So in the primary photo and logo spot on email, those will be the ones that are selected. So what if I want to change that? Well, I need to make a top photo or a top logo. Well, I already have one here. This is what I want to be my primary, but it's labeled Z, which alphabetically is below Matt Bobble. So watch this. If I relabel Z Flowers and I click Edit at the bottom of the screen to do that, I click Edit at the bottom, I get rid of the Z, so now I'm just changing it to Flowers. Well, notice I can make it a logo, a photo, or an other image. If you build your own reports, you can do the HTML editor and build reports with HTML if you want to. And you could use this as an image for that report, or you set it as your photo or logo. Well, I'm going to call it Flowers, and I'm going to click Update. And there's the preview of the flower image right there. Now notice when this saves, Flowers is above because it is alphanumerically before Matt Bobble. So there's my primary photo now because it's at the top. Now the logo is above it, but that doesn't matter. It's a logo, so it's the primary logo. The top photo and the top logo are your primary, your defaults on the MLS. Now I want to change Flowers. I don't want that to be my primary anymore. So I click on it. I click on Edit. I put a Z in front of it. And I click Update. Now it's still a photo, but it's moved down because Matt Bobble Full is above it. It is the primary. Okay, so that's how you set your primary photo under Preference and My Profile. Now let's go to Preferences and go to General Preferences. There are lots of preferences here that you can set. Preferences and General Preferences. And it's important that you go through some of these, not all of them. You can kind of figure them out. But if you have questions, email tech support, call tech support. They'll be glad to help you. If you're looking for a preference and you can't find it, they'll help you find that if it's available. Default font size when viewing listings. Now notice each of these has a header that tells you what it does. Settings affecting search results. Okay. Default font size. Okay, maybe you want to set it larger or smaller. You can do that. You can also do it on the listings page. But this one's very important. When searching for listings, search results will default to public or private version. Well, you might say, what is public and what is private? Well, very simply put, public is for the public. Private is private for agents only. That means the public version will not have several agent-only fields like agent-to-agent remarks, listing agent telephone number, listing agent email, listing office telephone number, listing office ID. It won't have any of that because it's for the public. It's been sanitized of the agent-only fields, whereas the private version will have all those fields and should not be disseminated to the public. But again, we're talking about search results. So when you're searching and you're looking at results online, do you want the public version that's been sanitized or the private version that has all the information you need? Well, I want the private version when I'm searching, so I'm going to leave it private version. And then do you want the 2-page full report, the brief with photos, or the full report as your default report? Well, I want the 2-page full report because that's going to have all of the fields. It's going to have a larger font. It's going to spill onto a second page for sure, but at least it's going to be a larger font, easier to see with bars breaking up the sections, color bars breaking up the sections. But you can go through and preview these and come back and change this anytime. This is your default. Scrolling down, email and print. Do you want the public version for email and print as the default or the private version? Now, again, you can always change this. But remember, the public version is the one you should give to the public. So that's probably going to be your default for email and print. You can always change it to the private version if you're printing it for yourself or emailing it to another agent. Because remember, and this is very important, the public version is for the public. The private version is for the agents. And here's the really important part. The private version of the report, if emailed, will require the person who receives it to log into the MLS with their agent ID. Now think about that. If you email the private version to a client, it's going to ask for an agent ID to log in. And the only way for them to do that is to violate MLS policy for you to give them your login and password, which they should not be doing. They should not ever have access to the MLS. So point being, never email the private version to your client. They can't see it unless they log in as you, and then they're violating MLS policy. They're not violating MLS policy. You're violating MLS policy by allowing them to have your password. So the private version is private for agents only. Now notice you can prompt. I'm going to set that to public for email and print. Prompt me to choose the interactive or printer friendly when emailing. So it will ask you every time, if you check that box, do you want to send them the link to just a single report and that's it, nothing else? Or do you want the interactive version? And the interactive version is going to have all of the complexities and all of the options for photos and all of that other stuff, not just a link to the report. And we'll talk more about that. But notice you can say, prompt me, do you want to send the interactive or printer friendly? Honestly, it can be annoying. If you always send the interactive version, then maybe you just want to uncheck that. Okay. And you can set that on the page when you're emailing. Now, I'm going to leave that prompt button checked, and I'm going to scroll down. Notice there are a lot of other options here we're not going over. Again, read through them. If you don't understand them, have questions, email or call technical support. Now, here's one I do want to look at. Expiring listing notification. Send email notification of expiring listings once per day for 7 days. Okay, that means before the expiration date. So if it expires on June 3rd, it's going to email starting at the end of May. And 7 days before expiration, it's going to email you saying, this listing is about to expire, this listing is about to expire, this listing is about to expire for 7 days before the expiration date. If that box is checked, what happens if I uncheck that box? Well, that means it's not going to notify you that your listing is about to expire. I think that's a terrible idea. But what if you're the broker and every listing in the office for every agent in the office is emailing you, the broker? Well, then in that case, if you're the broker, maybe you want to uncheck that box. But for most agents, you don't want to do that. But what about this? I check the box and I say, 7 days isn't enough. I want to be notified 14 days. Well, it won't email you every day, but look what it will do. It'll email you 14 days before the expiration date, and then it will go through the same cycle starting on the 7th day prior to the expiration date. So you'll get it on the 14th day prior to expiration, and then starting on the 7th day, you'll get it every day just like you would have previously. So you can set it even further out if you want to. I would not recommend turning it off, but if you want to experiment with how far out you want it to notify you, feel free. You just go in here and you make those changes, and then you can have it send out the email whenever you want. Okay, once you've gone through all these, I'm going to go down and click Save at the bottom. Now, like I said, there were a lot more settings here that we did not go over, but those are some of the highlights. I'm going to click Save at the bottom of the screen to save those preferences. And again, you can always get to those preferences by going to Preferences, General Preferences. Now there's another one there, Preferences, Portal Preferences. Now we already looked at saving your name. Notice the name right up here, Columbus Homes. Well, we looked at that. It was portal.flexmls.com. It's actually my.flexmls.com is the more common one. But my.flexmls.com / is the same for every realtor that uses FlexMLS. This part at the end is what's your choice. And that's what I've created right up here at the top of the screen. Now, again, if you've already got people using the client portal, don't change this name, because next time they go to that portal name, it won't work because you changed it. But if you haven't got anybody using it, now is the time. And this same address will be used by all of your clients on the portal. So right here, when they go to that website, they're going to log in with their email address and the password that they create. The email address you put on their contacts. We'll talk more about that in the Level 2 class. Now you can put in the message. This is the message that will automatically go out to your client when they create a portal. So you can customize it. It's a little bland, but it does give them some instructions on how to use the client portal. And scrolling down, there are lots of other portal settings that we will go over in the Level 2 class. The one I wanted to show you was, because you probably ought to get on that right now, is picking out the portal name so that when you do create a portal, it's already set. We'll talk about portals extensively in the Level 2 FlexMLS class. So I'm going to click Save at the bottom of this to save any changes I might have made. And the last thing I want to show you is super using. So let's pretend I just logged into the system. And I want to super use as the team leader. Now, the team leader and I have already got this set up. We contacted technical support. They set up the account so that when I log in, I can do business as team leader to enter the listings for my team. How do I do it? Well, first, as I said already, you log in as you. Now, notice up here it says Matt as Matt at the top right-hand corner where I'm moving my mouse. That indicates that you are logged in as you. Because it says Matt as Matt, it also indicates that you have super user privileges, meaning as that doesn't appear, that as somebody else doesn't appear if you don't have super user privileges. That means tech support has me set up to share with somebody. Now, I'm not giving them my password. I don't have the team leader's password. Here's what I have. I have super user privileges. Watch this. I logged in as me. I click on my name. And up here, I don't type in their name. I only have my name up there because I am the trainer. It'll be their license number. So it'd be something like this, right? You'd go up to the top up here and you'd type in the other person's license number. So I'm going to type in the team leader's ID. Not their name, their ID. I'm just using my name because I'm the trainer. But now I type in their ID, CR dot and their ID. I click use, and notice at the top right-hand corner, the name changes. It's now Matt as MAW. I am super using. If I add a listing, it's on their account. If I add a prospect, it's on their account, a contact and an auto email, it's on their account. And that's very important because if you forget that and you start doing business for yourself here and you're not wanting to be in as a team leader, but you forgot to log out, you're going to stay logged in. Even if you log out of the system right here, when you log back in, you'll still be super using as the person you were super using when you logged in earlier. So always remember to go back there and reverse the process when you're done. So if I want to go back up here and reverse the process, I just put in the other agent's license number, not their name, their license number. This is where you'd put in their license number like we talked about earlier. Okay, so I'm going to put in the other agent's license number, CR dot and their license number, and I click use, and now it's unsuper used. Now notice up here it says Matt as Matt, or it'll say whoever as whoever if you have that permission, and you can see that you're logged in as yourself. When you click on that, it shows the two names that are identical, meaning that's it. You're not super using any longer. And that's how you super use, and that's the end of lesson 1.